What's all about community? Institution, shut up. Warriors, building and broken. All follows the best of my own. For everyone, something to call their own. Escape from the pressures of society. And we're surely suffocating me. That's why it's all the innocent. Just say right. That's why I refuse to leave it. What's inside? That's why I'm doing this shit. Put it up in the game. I don't care for the money. I don't see no fucking pain. We need to take mentality. Don't pretend down road. Fucking history. The roads, loving getting. All poison, to deny. So busy putting on a misery. They ran the condition into a fucking misery. All night, living it all. You want to never fucking go with these people. That's why it's all the innocent. Just say right. That's why I refuse to leave it. What's inside? That's why I'm doing this shit. Put it up in the game. I don't care for the money. I don't see no fucking pain. How can you be? Most of these days was damage. And you say I'm saying that shit become. Especially with violence, but I'll do what it takes to resolve the positivity. Want something to never give up on me. Something that never give up on me. Celebrate the fear with the crucial. The real algorithm. Life and will and what you do. Then the face will fuck you. That's why it's guilty of within this union. That's why we all do away without a fucking right. That's why we do this shit with the love in the game. Don't care for the money. Couldn't give a fuck about the pain.
Because it's the most fun you can have on a Saturday night. I mean, what else are you going to do? Play golf?
They're fun. It's something to do. It's fulfilling.
And it's chaotic.
Yes.
And it's creative.
Yes.
And it's entertaining. Do you ever see that?
Yes.
And
Yes.
it's death-defying.
Yes.
It's hypnotic. Not erotic.
Basically, the underground scene and the metal community are welcoming and accepting. And basically just come and have fun with what basically are mates and almost like an extended family.
Oh, just so you can get close to other people.
Get loose.
Yeah, get it.
Like, let it all hang out. Let your hair down.
All I wanted was to come back. Not chlamydia.
Our shows or good shows?
Well, you got to support your local scene, and otherwise, what's the point of them playing?
If it's a local show, if it's a big show, if it's a medium-sized show, it doesn't matter. It's entertainment and it's a good night out, you know?
Smoking bongs is great too, but like, have you ever smoked bongs and then gone to a punk show? Like, that's fucking heaps better than smoking bongs and sitting on the couch. So I think that's a pretty good reason.
There's so many reasons why you should go to shows, like to connect with other people, to see bands, to hear new music, have fun. Yeah, and support people.
The beautiful thing about playing shows is bringing everyone together.
It's good shit. Yeah.
I think that it's important for smaller bands to get that start, and they're not going to get that start if people don't go to shows.
To get out there and live, music is really the best thing that humans do, so experience.
I think anything can happen because, strings break, people fall over, glasses smash, and that doesn't happen. If you listen to now an album at home, that doesn't happen.
Everyone has different reasons, I think, for wanting to go to shows or live music or any sort of performance. Some people might just want to get out and look at what other people are doing to be inspired to come up with ideas. I know that I go to a lot of shows when I've sort of come across a band or an artist that is just really, interesting or exciting, and you want to see what they do and how they do it. There's also just that pure emotional sort of cathartic connection that you can get with a live performance that, you know, you can't really get in other places.
I just love doing it. I cannot sit at home and be one of those people that just sits at home and watches TV or watches Netflix. You know, I'd rather be out here interacting with people and meeting people and, you know, talking to people rather than doing it online.
Shows are fucking fun, man. You know, music in general inspires the community. Why shouldn't people go to shows? Get off your fucking PlayStations and get the fuck out there.
We're blessed to have music. We have unconditional love, then music comes in close second. In a world without it would be fucking way more miserable.
Mate, it makes it feel better for us playing to, like, you know, more people than just fucking one man and his dog.
Yeah, people are very excited.
I mean, that man and his dog has been to every one of our gigs, but...
we like dogs at gigs.
Yeah, well, more dogs at gigs.
Yeah.
Because they're fucking awesome. Like, you get to see raw talent.
Number one is just to have a good time and go and see some music that you want to see, of course, that you like, that you enjoy. I mean, supporting the scene's important, supporting the bands is important. You meet lots of like-minded people as well. So I find that if you go to shows and you're hanging around with people that you have similar interests with, you're more than likely to make some new friends and stuff.
When you see musicians play live, the sound's better.
Yep.
You have a better time. There are people around that are enjoying it, and inevitably you just feel better by listening to live music.
It's good to watch people out there express themselves, and fucking sometimes you'll hear something that you needed to hear from a band that you didn't know you needed to hear, or you'll see a band do something where you're like, fucking, oh, I feel like that sometimes. I'm glad fucking I heard someone else feels like that.
I think if anything, the lockdown sort of showed us that sitting in your house doing nothing, it's kind of boring, and it kind of ends up taking a big toll on your mental health. So if anything, just go out for having a good time, you know?
Why should people go to shows? It's the best fucking thing to do in the world. You know, beyond the electricity and the vibe and the happiness of everybody, just seeing the smiles on everybody's faces, enjoying music, getting out beers, hanging out with mates, meeting the coolest people. There's no better place to be than at a show, in my opinion.
I reckon we need a lot more younger bands. It's pretty dominated by older people. We need some younger fellas.
Bands just need to have like really good etiquette when they come to gigs. Watch the other bands. Support.
It's not a competition. We can do some more venues and some more people that care about it. But yeah, it's pretty good.
Oh man, there's a lot, because we're talking specifically about the punk scene. I mean, the punk scene here is fucked. Because fucking the Australian punk scene is so divided. Fucking Melbourne, Sydney, Perth, that's all love. It needs more love, more unity.
I think to be improved is not booking so many different shows on the one night. How about we just do one punk scene, everyone goes to one venue on a Friday, huge show, and all the bands come along.
Everyone comes together.
I guess the best thing is like all the people we've met. I'd say.
Friendships.
Yeah. I think one of the worst things, I guess, would be like some of the misogyny.
Yeah, there's definitely sometimes lack of diversity. At times. It's definitely a problem and it needs to be improved upon.
Well, everyone's sticking together and not fucking categorising what fucking punk is and what's hardcore and what's not.
That's hardcore, bro.
It is hardcore.
Because it just splits the fucking small scene that we already have fucking up.
It's overwhelmingly positive. It's very, very difficult to find situations in this day and age that are as overwhelmingly positive as the punk rock. So the only thing I change about it is, as I said, more people going, you know what, fuck Cobra Kai. Let's go to a fucking show. That's the only thing I'd change. And it's not to do with the punk rock scene, it's to do with the punter.
A small handful of cool people in the music industry. That's the upside.
And playing cool music.
And cool music. I don't know what that's.
Really? Do we?
There seems to be this growing need for prerequisites that you have to meet before you actually get in there. And some venues that won't even let you play if you can't guarantee you're going to sell out. How are you going to sell out if you can't play?
There's better spread of shows available, I guess. Whereas like a few years back, it was like one venue per like town that we could actually manage to get. Whereas like being able to play in Woy Woy on a Sunday afternoon is sick. Like yeah.
Where everybody's sort of on the same page a little bit. So I think that's a good aspect of the local music scene. I think something that could be improved about the local music scene. I noticed there's a bit of a trend of whenever anybody gets a little bit of success in the local music scene, there's this huge pushback against it. It's like, just because you don't fucking get it doesn't mean you need to be totally negative about it or whatever.
It can be accessible to everyone. It doesn't matter what age, what demographic.
We love meeting lots of other people, and that's our favourite thing. We can make friends. What could be improved?
More women
on the stage.
More women in the scene. More quotas of women. Like you have very sad quotas.
There's no excuse about we couldn't find any because there's heaps of women playing in bands. I can tell you so many.
Wow.
And it's just people being ignorant and a bit lazy and taking the easy way out.
A lot of locations have very cliquey scenes, and I feel like those cliques could come together and just be one cohesive unit, you know? Like, there are so many fucking awesome bands playing that don't get the opportunity because they're not part of the right clique, and I think that's fucking bullshit.
When you're at a show, that's one massive family. I think what can be improved is just the fact that it needs to be a little bit more focus on being a bit more inclusive within the scene. There have been some rising trends which really piss me off, where people are doing some heinous shit to girls in pits and all that. Look, that's bullshit. At the end of the day, we're all there for one reason. Just behave yourself.
So good thing about the music scene right now is the amount of women and non-binary people that you see at pretty much every show now, rather than just scattered sporadically throughout the year. But it could still be improved. And speaking from a Newcastle point of view, more people of colour need to be online.
I think some of the best things about the underground music scene is that every musician or venue owner or promoter that works together in the underground scene, it's a big family, bro. So that's a massive pro for the underground scene, and it means it will always survive if those involved continue to support each other. I mean, the only way to make it better is drag the cunts there, physically go and grab them by the arm and go, come on, come and see something new that's going to blow your fucking mind.
Feels like there's fucking all these young people doing amazing things, putting on shows, putting on parties, doing bands, all sorts of shit. And it feels really alive.
Like, especially in Sydney, I feel like, not to throw any shade, but it got pretty stagnant after a while. Like, I'd say from between like 2015 to maybe like 2018, 19, you're seeing the same bands over and over again. And the crowds are getting smaller and smaller, and people want something new and they want something fresh. And I feel like that's happening right now. So I'm really glad to be a part of it too.
I think it's quite easy to put shows together. I sort of like the actual metal industry as a whole. Like everyone's super like supportive, and you can literally just message anyone and they'll reply, or say I'm interested in the show, not interested. I think it's a really industry is just really easy to communicate with, and everyone's really easygoing. Like you don't get a lot of that stuck up
sort of attitude in, I think, this scene. Like everyone's sort of really down to earth and human.
The biggest thing to fix, without a doubt, is definitely getting some sort of minimum wage for bands to be paid.
Fuck, a lot could be improved. No. Just need to fucking keep playing shows and going. I just want more of it, more of everything.
I don't think you can handle this!
No fuckwits. Yeah, I like that. I feel, especially after all the stuff we've gone through the pandemic, I feel everyone's really, really unified, and they've actually started to come together, and it's great to see. As far as things we don't like, there's not really a whole lot that we don't like, otherwise we wouldn't be doing it. There's no money. We're really just doing it for the love at this point.
In all, I think it's really positive. I think the more people kind of look into the underground thing and support it, maybe for the future it'll give Australia a bit more of a like an outlook and an iconography of the more gritty, real sort of stuff, instead of like the washed up, clapped out bullshit of rock and roll that you see on TV and that you see at the RSLs and that sort of thing. That needs to just fucking burn. That stuff is garbage, personally, I have to say.
I agree.
That doesn't represent the Australian music scene whatsoever.
If people start searching out better, more visceral, real live music instead of, like you said, washed up pus, it would make life a lot easier for a lot of underground musos.
David Bowie, who is the absolute greatest of all time in my book, once said that anything that is good is going to come from the underground. And it made sense, and it was true in 1981 or whenever he said it, and it makes just as much, if not more sense now. Because you've got people like me, like my group, like all the other groups who are playing here tonight, who aren't doing it because they think that they've got to become millionaires from it. There's no fucking money in it. What you get from that is people who are doing it for all the right reasons, untainted by any desire to make money from it, but just through a fucking compulsion to be creative.
I think it offers actual genuine expression. Like, you're not just talking about superficial shit. Like, there's fucking problems and people are singing about it,
To me, the underground music scene is 4 blokes getting in a shed that don't know what they're fucking doing. Maybe 1 or 2 of them know what they're doing, and you just make noise. I think that's what it's all about, just having a go.
Anyone that's trying to do something in the music scene that's not funded, it's non-for-profit, all the rest of it, it's just you and your mates trying to have a good time, go out and play some shows in all the pubs you can think of, and do it because you love it.
Oh, fucking cool is what it is. Yeah. It's a mix between the band practices where you roll into all the other bands in the same studio, going out for a quiet beer and bumping into all people from bands.
The camaraderie and the kick-ons.
The kick-ons afterwards, the fucking crazy fucking house parties afterwards, that's all part of it. It's not just the music, it's 90% everything else as well that brings us all together into a cohesive unit.
Most people on this street will have never heard of us and will never know who we are. But the people in there will love us.
You find what you like, you find what you love, and you find other people that love it too, and you just sort of come together and really just just have a good time.
It's weird people following their weird dreams, like not necessarily for commercial success. I'd say it's more about just creative expression and people making art because they got to make art. I think.
Music for the sake. For the sake of making it. I guess that's like the broadest concept of it. Like none of us are ever expecting an income or even to break even half the time, but it's the shit that you just keep, everyone involved just keeps doing. The soundies do it for less than the work, the venues do it for having shit broken and all that.
And the idea is that, you're going to do it anyway because you have to. It's like a compulsion, like you need to get it out and like it's fun.
The underground is sort of this place where everyone can plug into together to share their experiences and to share their, stories. So it's like this sharing space where people can come together.
It's supporting people that actually support you.
It takes all sorts. Some people are doing it as like a hobby. Some people are living and breathing it. But I think ultimately it's just this it's almost like a party that happens every week that people come to, can sort of forget about all the bullshit of the outside world for like a minute.
It's young people.
The underground for me is kind of people doing stuff under the radar, things that might not have commercial appeal, but they've got appeal for being curious and interesting.
It's the anti-corporate. It's the Australian music scene. Like it's the Australian rock music scene and the Australian punk music scene, and we're forced to go underground. Like there's not much of the Australian music scene, music industry in general.
The underground music scene is all about, and always has been, is about musicians wanting to get their music heard and then people wanting to listen to new music, especially when the radio doesn't want to play a lot of the music out there that should be getting pushed, which doesn't. So the only place to really go to listen to something like that is when you come to places like this, which is the underground music scene.
I think the underground is sort of all those bands that are just that little bit smaller, that don't necessarily have that massive commercial approach. They're doing it for the smell of an oily rag, maybe a free pizza and a couple of beers, and just for the passion of it all. And I think that really is what the underground scene's all about.
It's something that challenges people, I think.
Art, creativity, DIY.
The noisemakers that aren't the money makers. Yeah, essentially the underground.
I think it's people doing their own thing.
It's people pushing the boundaries just for the fun.
It's stuff that people either haven't seen before or stuff we haven't seen for a long time.
Less rules, less boundaries. Yeah, there's less restrictions. And so if you want to give it a go, you can.
Not playing for cash, not doing it for radio play, not doing it to sell fucking merch or anything like that. They're doing it just like they want to get the music out there. They want to like play like the sort of music they want to play on their style, whether it be whatever subgenre or punk rock that it is.
I think the internet's made everything wide open. There's no such thing as an underground anymore. It's not like this. Everyone knows everything's out there.
Underground is definitely obscure and at times hard to listen to in your face, pushing the boundaries.
The local scene, in a sense, bands that are known but aren't bigly known, in a sense. I don't know.
Everything starts in the underground. You got to start somewhere. Without fans, without a base of people coming to the shows, of people actually knowing that you're actually a band. So I guess everyone comes from the underground, and it's just how long and the journey that you take.
It says it almost in the term, underground. It is a place where things are still growing, a place where things are still figuring themselves out. And I hope, at least in my perspective, that offers a safe place for experimentation, a place for improvisation, and a place to explore yourself and your music within a community that's there to foster it.
The underground is a river, okay? And music with substance is like a stone you throw in the river, which will sink to the bottom and stay there. Whereas a lot of mainstream music is like shit. And when shit hits water, it goes with the flow of the river, so it doesn't have a long lifespan. It just comes and disappears.
It's a DIY, fucking people doing what they love doing.
A cool bunch of people all looking out for each other and enjoying the same music.
The academics talk about the underground being defined by what it is not as much as what it is. So the underground is basically a space where people come together to reject various things. In this case, you're rejecting music needing to be a particular way, and you're rejecting mainstream society, and you're rejecting a lot of things. And there's a lot of freedom and independence and, in a way, politics to that. So it's all about I am not that, and that's why I am underground.
There is no appeal. No money, no beer, dirty lame
There's
ways.
no nothing there. Dirty lame ways and you get fucking nothing and fucking...
And we love it. We wouldn't do it any other way.
Fuck it up.
I think it's fun. You don't have to pretend to be anything you're not. Yeah. I think because it is sort of a relatively tight-knit community. Yeah. Everyone kind of knows, even if you don't know everyone, you've seen people before, you know of people, you have a chat with them. It's just...
and it's just, you'll always find a character. Like, it's LGBTQI friendly. It's like very accepting, like no matter what, it's trans, like friendly. Everybody just rocks up here to enjoy themselves and enjoy the music.
I think it's people doing their own thing. People don't worry about any rules or anything when writing their songs. Well, it seems that way anyway. And they just play what music they want to play, and people either like it or don't and come to watch it, and it's genuine.
It's people doing it because they want to do it. It's people doing it because they love it. It's people doing it because they're creative. And if we didn't have the underground, we'd all be outsider art. And outsider art's great. It is. But we don't want to be outsider artists. That'd be depressing.
It's where you can be yourself. It's a true expression of creativity, and that's what makes it so appealing from my perspective. Is that it's not pandering to anything else.
The realness, the people that are still out there putting out music and playing music are doing it because they want to, not because they have some misguided conception that they're going to make money or be famous. It's just like you have to love it, otherwise there's no point.
It's probably the unknown. That's what they deal with. It's like no one really knows about it, except if you're in the underground, you know about it.
Yeah. The appeal of this whole underground side of things is it's usually other musicians, and then it's other musicians and avid music appreciators. You're not going to get like, your uncle that listened to fucking AC/DC when he was 20 that come to our sort of shows. As entertaining as that would be great. But it's going to be the people that really go to their way to go, oh, I want to find another band. And, oh, shit, these guys are from Melbourne. Oh, cool. And, oh, but my mate's band is playing on their bill too. Oh, what? They're playing together? Awesome. And you just kind of get that tumbleweed of clickiness that comes together. I think that's the cool thing about this kind of underground or alternative, lesser known scene.
It's different, it's daring, it's diverse, it's dangerous, it's a bit risky.
It appeals to people with different mindsets to the general populace. It covers topics and forbidden fruits and such.
Anti-pop. The anti-pop, as Les Claypool said.
For me personally, there's no fucking rules.
You're not being judged so harshly. People like to watch someone kind of let loose and do whatever they want, and they appreciate it.
I think just, the people you meet.
Yeah, it's really welcoming. I think it's really hard to get turned away. you gotta have done something pretty fucking wrong to get turned away from the underground music.
I don't hear the passion in mainstream music. I don't hear any passion at all. So that's what I think people gravitate to underground music, because there is some passion.
Terrible smelling rooms with too many men with bad body odour. Not getting paid for gigs. Yes. No. Being part of something, being part of a community, like-minded people.
For everyone. There is no exclusions. Like,
you know, no music exclusions, no personality exclusions. You can literally be your raw rock and roll self in any form. And everyone in the underground is accepting of that, and it's bloody beautiful.
It's a space to be weird. I've always been someone that celebrates weirdness and thinks weirdness is actually crucial to finding out who we want to be as a people and rejecting certain negative forces in society.
The sheer variety and amount of cool bands that are popping out of the Sydney scene and the Wollongong scene, it's really good. I think it adds up a lot to the color of the underground scene in general.
There was little in the way of sort of hierarchy in it, you know, and that's the appeal as far as I see it. You know, it's just that, yeah, it's for everybody, by everybody. Not everyone has to be in a band. The people who go there to see bands are just as important as the bands. So are the people who do zines, do artwork, do documentaries and films, do release stuff. But it's all the friends, it's all the same people, but every single aspect of it, whether it's as performer or as audience or consumer or whatever, it's all the same. It's all on the same level, and that's what I think appeals.
People that are at the gigs are actually there for the gigs, instead of like you go to like fucking like Splendor in the Grass or some big old festival that's not underground, like some mainstream shit, and it's like there's a lot of people just going there just to fucking load up on drugs or to wear a fancy outfit or to like be something outside of the music. But if it's like a fucking dingy little gig, you know, the people who are going there, fucking they're going because they love that shit.
With the underground, it's a lot more mysterious. You don't quite know what you're going to go see. Someone could be having a really good night, someone could be having a bad night, but you won't know until you get there and you see it.
Being yourself and not giving a fuck.
Well, yeah, man. Like, fuck, there was no appeal to the mainstream ever since I was a child. That was fucking boring. That's where you find yourself, I think. Find who you are, find your authentic self. If you're into that, you know what I mean? Like, fuck, there's so many boring cunts out there. You don't want to join them, do you?
I take pity. You think I'm quick because I won't put out and that's some shit. You womanizing prick. Get your hands off me. You made me fucking
Fuck, that's last year, man.
Yeah, this is our first gig we've had for 1 year.
Let's make Dimitri look better though when he puts
Oh yeah, he looks
I mean, we're playing at Factory Theatre tonight. This gig wouldn't have happened if there were international bands booking this venue every single fucking night of the year, because there are no international bands. Bands like us from Sydney are allowed to play at a venue like Factory, which is fucking awesome. So that's the bright side of it. It gives Australian bands more opportunity.
Further underground. Under the underground.
We never really stopped. We did a lot of streaming
Sort of
gigs.
stuck with the mosh pit. The mosh pit, I think, was the real. They were the real rock and roll lifeline of Sydney during COVID.
It royally fucked it. Not just here, all over the world.
How didn't it affect the music scene? I think it's a better question.
Oh mate, well before COVID we used to get paid like $50, now we get paid in beer, so that's how it changed. 50 beers for.
Yeah, before COVID, we used to play to 6 people, now we play to 6 people with masks on.
Here in Tasmania, we were quite lucky. It only lasted 3 months probably, I would say, that it wasn't really an option to have any gigs.
For our band, we just got it together. We were just starting to get shows. We had about 8 shows booked. Then COVID sort of didn't happen again. Then our drummer broke his fucking arm. So then those 8 shows that we had before got fucked again. Then living on the northern beaches, we had the northern southern fucking cluster again, and that fucked us again. So for 18 months, it really fucked our band. And rehearsing every week for nothing gets a bit fucking boring, you know?
Give us more time to practice.
On a serious point, with the COVID thing, it was good because we got to spend a lot of time rehearsing, but we also took the opportunity to write a lot of material as well. So we had a set ready to go when COVID hit, and that's what we're putting out at the moment. But we've got this big catalogue of new stuff ready to go.
Are you going to fucking sing? No.
With COVID, I feel like while all the damage it's done to, especially to bands who actually were making a bit of money touring and had a job from it, I feel really bad for those bands. But for the bands that are just sort of small doing this as a hobby on the scene, I think it actually made people go, oh shit, this is actually really important to have. And now that shows are coming back, I'm seeing so much more hype.
I think it really pointed out the people that didn't do it for us. It was interesting to see the bands that just chose not to play because they didn't want to play to 50 to 100 people.
We literally split up with our old band and started the new one, like, I think when the first dude started coughing, pretty much. Like, we were pretty much ready to start shows and it got shut down.
We saw a lot of bands that they were planning these tours, or they had albums ready to go, or they had to release them, and then they were just getting tour cancelled again and again and again. And, you know, we had it a few times to us, and I just remember thinking, like, this is absolute fuck, I'm over this. Like, it was just really disheartening because it takes a lot of effort to, particularly for tours and just shows in general, and to have them kind of cancelled and rescheduled and doing all that sort of stuff takes its toll on you, but things are definitely bouncing back now.
We had a tour booked, like we had an Australian and New Zealand tour booked for May. I think COVID came in at around March.
Yeah.
So we had everything booked, we had everything paid for, everything planned, all the flights, all the hotels, everything. And then it was just cancelled, the whole lot cancelled. The airlines wouldn't give us our money back from the flights, kept it in a travel bank. You know, for an underground metal band, that can be pretty, you know, when you've invested that much money into it. We had a band coming out, 2 bands coming out from America to do the tour. We booked all their flights as well, all our flights. It was fucking ridiculous.
It's made everything 10 times more difficult than it needs to be. Like, it's not just the gigs and everything, but it's everything in the background that's just stopped.
You can argue historically that pandemics happen every 100 years, and they do. And William Shakespeare wrote plays in lockdown. I, on the other hand, struggled with it emotionally. I was really climbing the walls. I didn't realize how social a person I was when I literally could not go to gigs. Emotionally, it was very difficult.
Oh man, I know for us personally, it took a massive toll. We were in the middle of an East Coast tour. We'd already put heaps of money into promotion, all sorts of things that we'd been doing, helped to promote our last EP. And like, not to mention the amount of money we put into that CD as well, you know. A lot of it just took a massive, massive toll. Because like I said, you know, we're barely making ends meet before the friggin' pandemic hit. So, I mean, after that, it was just a bit like, in a way, it was almost a bit like a wake-up call. Like, you know, if you really want to keep doing it, you'll find a way.
I tell you what, that's what, when the word comes, is underground, mate, because I tell you, the government and all that stuff definitely forgot about the musicians. And I've got a lot of mates that work in the music scene, behind the scenes and stuff like that. And, you know, and it's nothing against tradesmen and all that stuff. They've got to work as well, but no one gave a shit when it happened to the music scene.
It's been hard to stay motivated, especially being in a band. You sort of lose that role you're on. Where we're going quite well before COVID, and starting to get, you know, some decent shows, and it just sort of feels like we've lost the role. Hopefully it comes back more than what it was.
Yeah, it's just shit all around. Like, everything was affected. It's just shit.
Musicians that rely entirely on music for an income have suffered significantly, which is something that, you know, we're going to be feeling the brunt of for years to come, I think. We're going to be having conversations about it still in 5 years' time, you know, that overhang hangover from the impact of COVID.
Most people in the scene that I've sort of been involved in have, you know, they help you out. You do meet douchebags occasionally.
He's fucking awesome.
That's the best thing about it.
Community is what it's all about.
I think the underground scene is welcoming and accepting.
I've made lifelong friends, learned valuable skills and life lessons through it.
We played our first show not long ago at the Servo, and it was with a bunch of guys that we used to play band. Ma used to play in a band with, and it was like, you know, the whole community spirit, everyone supporting each other. It's a great. I love the community, the music community in Wollongong.
It's like the community. It's fucking mixed. You know, there's clients that are absolutely just rude to everyone. You know, because there's people who are in closer punk rock bands who think being punk rock is having an attitude that treats everyone like shit, if you get what I'm saying. When really, I think that being punk is like, you leave that shit to the stage. You be fucking respectful of everyone. You respect your fucking community and you respect your peers. Why do you want to deal with shit all the time?
It's the best. Oh, it's tight. No judgment. Everyone's fucking weird in their own way. I like that. It's good. I mean, I can only comment on our little Sydney vibe, you know. I mean, we've been around. It seems like you just fucking have a crack and people treat you well.
A lot of, you know, questionable people in the scene, which I think kind of poisons the well a bit. Yeah, I feel like it needs to be a lot more generous. A lot of gatekeeping. It's a lot of the same few bands playing the same few gigs over and over. It's just the same old, and I think that's kind of hard for, especially people like us who have played fuck all gigs.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's pretty impossible.
I think, like, I can't speak for like the scene outside of Wollongong, but I know like the Wollongong scene is like super male dominated, which like when you go on heaps of shows and you're not seeing people that you relate to, like doesn't make you really want to get involved, you know?
You don't often get egos like you used to, and I think that's come from now everyone's back in it together. You know, we've all struggled from having a year off of playing. Before that, I think maybe egos were getting a bit unchecked.
I really like honesty, and it's one scene where honesty is a big thing.
Mate, it is living, breathing, its heart is pulsating, it's got blood pumping through its veins, and as I said, it's a place where people who have trouble finding their fit in other places can come and feel like they belong.
That sense of community is huge. That's like I was saying before, I think that's the main element for a lot of these like music scenes, is that togetherness, that sense of sort of camaraderie, and having people that just, you know, vibe the same things that you do, and you might not necessarily agree with them on every, you know, sort of political or philosophical or, you know, whatever sort of argument they have, but because you have those common shared experiences, those common threads, you're able to see past those differences.
Everyone's really rad. Like, all the bands are supportive. Especially like being females, we all know each other. Like the female musicians, or like if we're like meeting younger chicks coming through, it's like super supportive. So for the female music, like, you know, musicians, the punk rock chicks, we kind of all have each other's back. So
I think the community is awesome. I've met most of my best friends in the music community. When it comes to local music, where it's not many other fucking areas of life have been like this in my experience, but when it comes to local music, everyone's just really keen to help each other out.
it's just like, it's like a little family, you know what I mean? I guess that's what we want, really.
Sometimes I think it's a little bit too woke for its own good. I think everyone should fucking calm down a little bit. Everyone wants to be included. Everyone wants to be kind of like feel like they belong. I just think that some people, I've just known in the past, some people have been labelled or some people have been kind of pushed out of the scene for the wrong reasons. I just think that everyone's a little bit up their own asses and they should just relax and really see it as it is. Everyone wants to belong, everyone wants to have a good time, and stop bloody being so bloody uptight.
A lot of dickheads, but there's a lot of cool people too.
Tradies, they go to the pub on a Friday after work. When they knock off at 5 p.m. on a Friday, they go to the pub. We go see live music. That's how it is.
General people live, come in contact with. It's been really supportive and great. None of this like my band, your band, or that style of music versus this style of music. I think, yeah, for me personally, it's just been amazing support.
I think it's excellent. Some of the best people I've ever met through the underground music. I like the sort of and going back to like,
you know, yes, the screaming music is fucking great, and I love loud guitars, but it's that sense of community, that sense of support and belonging that has kept me going for this fucking
we
long.
Couldn't ask for anything more when it comes to people that support our band. They're so passionate.
You know, we've met a lot of great people in those in the underground scene. A lot of great people who play in bands. A lot of new up and comers, you know, as well. One of my favorite things about the underground as well is you see a lot of these different personalities, you know, people, different backgrounds, different walks of life, and they just come in and make different things their own, you know, like it's very fucking interesting.
Sometimes hear about drama or hear about it not being very close, but it could be confirmation bias, but most of the people I've ever dealt with have been really wonderful and really supportive, and the people that haven't get nowhere. They, even if they start big, they just vanish after a little while when no one wants to book them or play with their band. So I found more often than not, it's really wonderful and supportive, especially recently.
I don't know how many times we've done shows and like someone breaks something. Never, I don't think we've ever come across anyone who hasn't said, oh, yeah, here's this, you can use this like a kick pedal or a snare or whatever for anything.
It's definitely been one of the most promising things I've seen coming out of COVID. Everyone's happy to be there. They want to push forward. They want to get something done. And like, if anything, those 3 to 6 months or however long it was that we all took off, it kind of was exactly what we needed to sort of get everyone to push that forward and make sure that we're doing as much as we can to help support each other.
There was a bigger community back in the day because there was more kids involved in the certain styles of music, you know. Now, because of the internet, once again, there's a broader range of music available to everyone. So you've got smaller pockets of people into different styles of music.
It's good, it's tight, it's small, changes wherever you go.
Anywhere you go, like you could go up on a tour wherever around Australia, go to little towns, and like someone's always going to put you up, help you out with a fucking kick drum or, you know, all that stuff. They're just real good like that.
As fun as shows are, there is a sense of community. There's a sense of community that is so passionate, and within that community I found so many of my friends. So many of my friends, and friendships were fostered within those shows and taken outside of those shows as well.
I'm just going to butt in again and say the underground community isn't really in the Sydney music scene. The underground community is, honest to God, all the sluts and the perverts and the freaks and the whores that come out to these gigs. They're the underground.
Josh is Scorpion now. Josh had the habit of passing out on us. That's happened a couple of times on stage now.
Like at 4 o'clock in the morning, we're heading to, was it Brisbane or something? And
these fucking last seen online 2 hours ago. I'm like, they can't swallow us. Like, knocking on his door, nothing. Went outside, started fucking hucking rocks at his window, and then eventually he opens the door. He's like, "Ugh, fuck, what time is it? It's time to fucking drive to a different city, dude."
Boring Southeast Asia. The food is delicious, but it's a bit hard on your belly. And we played in Penang. Penang, beautiful city, beautiful food, amazing. But I was very ill coming in from Thailand, and it's the only show where I almost didn't play. Long story short, I couldn't quite hold it in while we were playing. That's all you need to know.
Too many and we can't tell ya.
Too many. Too many.
We got banned from the first ever venue we ever played at. Yes, that's right. And the guy threatened to come find us and break our arms.
Verbatim. Yeah. I'm gonna get all your puffy little mates and I'm gonna break their arms and I'm gonna break their fucking legs and I'm gonna shove them down your throat.
And just for the record, the reason was that he didn't pay us. And we were chasing it up. We asked, like, hey, what's the go with that?
I'll tell you one kind of nice, almost like PG rated story. Yeah. This is kind of nice and funny because my dad's a musician. He's supported my music stuff for years. And one day he brought his other friend, Doc, who's a musician, who's an exceptional guitarist, one of our shows. We're playing our thing. And Doc apparently went up to my dad and said, "I'm having so much fun. All I want to do is get up on stage with these boys and take a shit on stage." And I thought that was lovely. We inspired him to want to become so primal, infantile, and defecate on stage while we're playing. Then that's a tick in the box as far as I'm concerned.
I heard how. Oh yeah. And we spent ages beforehand sound checking, getting it ready, and then one of the speakers wasn't plugged in, and we made a mashup of I wish I was a punk rocker with flowers in my hair, and we started floating. And it was just a hardcore punk gig. And there was lots of proper punks there, and we were flooring fake flowers. We came out and just and we had samples from this punk documentary that was I'm a punk, I'm a business punk. And it just didn't flow very well. Partially, I think because the sound was so good. You couldn't hear the sound of exploding flowers, and it was an hour-long set. It was so long. It was so long. And everything was breaking, all the instruments were breaking too, and we were just like, oh no!
We're on our way to Brisbane. We played at an old church with some Tibetan throat singers. No shit. I was so fucking blind. We played after them. If you remember, they went, oh.
That's the night after we slept in a park.
Yeah, that was the night after we slept in the park.
Anyway,
that night, I spewed out the front of all the Tibetan throat singers and all the Buddhists, blind, just in a church we played. For fuck's sake. Anyway, that was very bitchcraft back then. Me spewing in front of Tibetan monks. It was great.
33rd birthday at the Patch Hotel. I scooter glass myself. I was a basically back in the day. As you can probably see on my head, there's a lot of scars. Here, scooter glass myself. Usually when it happens, blood will trickle down and it will dry up and like in the rest of this had the powder finger effect, which I like to call the cascading down. I just kept going down and down, and actually the boys were saying when I sung, it fucking spurted out of my head because I hit an artery. Then I got to hospital. I lost about 5 or 6 litres. I stayed up in hospital for the day, for the night.
I saw someone throw a chicken once at the band. That was
a live chicken.
It was alive. They got it from the neighbour's house. That was pretty fun.
It was a house party. Chicken all right?
Chicken was fine. It was a little bit spooky.
Playing a show and I was enjoying it, obviously, and kicking around and jumping. And they must have had the power cord underneath the stage or some shit. And I've jumped and knocked the power cord out and all the speakers blew and the power went off in the whole building. So we kept playing and finished our set and obviously finished a bit early because, there's not a whole lot to be done with bass and drums. And then the sound tech comes over, he's like, "Oh, thought you guys were supposed to play an hour." I said, "Oh, we would have if we had power."
was in Fenrir about 3 years ago. We were doing a run of shows in New Zealand, and we were in Auckland, and the fellas decided to go to a strip club. And I told them, I was like, hey, look, guys, I'm running low on cash. I don't think I'm going to be able to get in. And they're like, oh, yeah, no, we'll sort it out. We're like, okay. And they start to walk in, and I start yelling, going like, hey, guys, like, I don't have any cash. I can't get in. They just walk right the fuck in. So I'm sitting outside this strip club at about 2, 3 a.m. in Auckland. No data on my phone because I'm in a foreign country. And just talking to the drunks that would come by me. After about 2 hours, they came out. They thought it was quite funny. I didn't think it was funny at the time. I was quite upset. Like, it's funny in hindsight, but I was pretty upset at the time.
Yeah, Slats, our bass player, had his tooth knocked out while we were playing, and he kept playing. Yeah, didn't even go to the bench. And the funny thing was we couldn't get him to we were in Canada, and we couldn't get him to a dentist till the next day.
Played in my other band in Newcastle once, and I saw one guy give another guy who was not expecting it, but it's Newcastle, a German suplex, because he was just so amped up, and we should have been outraged and he should have got kicked out, but we were playing a hardcore punk set, and like he German suplexed the guy. The guy got up and checked his neck, and he went, yeah, and the guy who suplexed him went, yeah, and we all went, all right. That was pretty wild.
I played a gig above a methadone clinic once, and I had a guy come in and ask me if I needed help with some gear. So I was like, yeah, cool. And I didn't know it was a methadone clinic until I got back downstairs. And he was like, oh, all right, that's $10. Fuck.
First thing that comes to mind is at a gig that we didn't play at, but we went to here at Frankie's. It was like the Lemmy Lager launch, and they did a whole Motorhead tribute thingy. And Steve got a whole like shot poured in his eyes by like a stripper that was on stage and pouring shots for everyone.
Oh, that was so funny because she was pouring shots out in front of everyone in the front crowd, and I was just like, you know what? I'm gonna go up there and get a mouthful of free alcohol. So I went up there, and instead of pouring it straight in my mouth, she put it straight in my eye. And I walked away. I was like, that was so not worth it.
Daro got his penis out. The show. Yeah, it was awful. I was impressed. He really knew how to move his hips. As he pulled his undies back up, he had this sort of like shimmy, and I was like, I'm a good dance, not move.
So, wild story. After one of our gigs, like, we went to some lady's house, and she had like little like jars with like little nugs of weed, and she had like doll bludger stickers on all of them. And shit.
Erin.
Yeah.
She's a wildman.
That's cool as shit. I was like, yeah, she's like mad stoked on all the bands, dude. Shout out to Erin, dude. She's mad.
Is that it? So your craziest story at a gig is you went back to some old bird's house and smoked heaps of pot, and she had doll bludger stickers on her pot jar. Is that your fucking story, cunt? Fuck me.
When me and Ed played in our old bands, we used to play with like another mate's band, Cardiac Reference Point. I think one of the funniest fucking things I've seen, when the singer, Johnny Gutshit, he rocked up to this gig, and he's a singer. He rocks up in garbage bags. He's all wrapped up in garbage bags, nothing else. I'm thinking, oh, yeah, fair enough. And then halfway through his song, this fella pulls out a tin of tuna. And I'm thinking, what the fuck's this tin of tuna? So he grabs it. The singer grabs a tin of tuna, rips the lid off, turns around and shelves the tuna up his fucking ass, man. And I'm not shitting you. He pulls it out, like he shits it back out and just eats it again. That was probably the just like, why would you do that? Like, that's just
for the show, man. Yeah.
One gig that always springs to mind is when we played in Niš in eastern Serbia, and no one had ever played there before. There'd been no punk bands ever. And we were traveling with some local guys, like a friend from Belgrade and that, and they told us this town is fucking scary, you know. There's a reason why no one goes there.
we drove into town and fucking everyone we saw on the street was just fucking soldiers and Nazis. It was just fucking insane. And we were driving around looking for the fucking venue or get an idea, and we see the poster for the show, and the poster is just a fucking picture of the four of us standing there up against the fucking wall. This girl sitting on the, teenagers with coloured hair and that, sitting on the ground right beneath the poster. And one of our guys gets out of the van and goes up to her and goes, excuse me, do you know where this is? And she's wearing headphones, looks up, pulls the headphones and goes, fuck off, puts the headphones back on. Get to where we're meant to be, which was this kid's grandmother's place. He lived in a little cabin out the back of his grandmother's. And he said, okay, you can't say anything about the Nazis because someone at this show will be friends with them and they will tell them, and they won't attack you, but they will attack us afterwards and they'll burn us out. We're fucked. So you just got to keep your mouth shut. And they're like, all right. And they said, okay, there's no venues in this town. So we played in the foyer of a cinema. There were no support bands because no one's ever been there before. So there's no bands from there. And we played an evening show, and it was cool and it was chaotic. We got drunk as fuck on Slivovitza and that. And then, afterwards, sitting outside, and the Nazis did a march past just to let us know that they were there and that they knew we were there. And we all got bundled back to this kid's grandmother's place to spend the night. But the really fucking cool thing is, a couple of months later, we went and played a festival in Croatia, and there was a band playing that was made up from kids that were at that fucking show that we played that were from that town. And that town had never had a punk band before. And that's what's fucking cool.
If we somehow ended up sort of getting well known and people were actually listening to our music and stuff like that, it wouldn't be because we changed anything, it would just be because people got into it, so we probably wouldn't be an underground band, but it wouldn't be because we changed anything about it.
There's people that are passionate about music, and there's people that just listen because essentially we're told to listen to music. The underground is necessary because it focuses on the passion behind people wanting to listen to music and go to show.
Yes, to some extent. Everybody wants success. Everybody wants to get out there and hit up more people. At the same time, there's something fucking golden about having your little niche crowd.
It's intimate.
Yeah, it's more intimate. It's just fucking friendly, playing a gig to 100 people that you know really fucking closely is different to playing a gig to 1,000 people and you don't know 900 of them.
Yeah, but if you want to give me some money, if you want to use this for a jeans ad, well, come and you later. You can live in the shit house or the penthouse. It's up to you, really. If someone's going to, it costs us money to play gigs. Don't make anything. But it'd be nice to make a bit of money for you.
Yeah, I don't see this as underground. This is fucking music. This is what it is, man.
It's a hard one. The underground's good where it is. If it happens to break out into the more mainstream world, good on those people who can do it.
No, I don't, because in the 90s, all the main music on all the radios and everything were 90s style punk bands, and it was amazing. It was bands getting out there, playing huge shows, supporting huge people, and if they've done it then, why can't we do it again? The underground is just there to nurture up-and-coming bands, so if they can do it, why not?
Yeah, fuck it up.
It is what it is. It'll stay what
I
it
just
is.
love the way our scene's run by the people in the scene, mate. And it's good. I think a few more people should have a go because it's the same fucking 3 or 4 people that run everything. I think a few other people should start having a go and fucking put on shows, mate. We can pop up anywhere.
Yeah, it has to. I mean, isn't everyone trying to not be underground?
Yeah, I guess you could argue that.
I think everyone's trying to get above the underground if you really want to keep playing music, unless you've got a 9-to-5 job and you just do music on the weekends or something. that's the one, isn't it? I'm sure the people we've interviewed that have different opinions with this. While I wish that they could all have Foo Fighters level mansions and money for their amazing music, I think some of it should stay underground to keep that appeal and keep that mystique.
I don't think there would be much point in not having one. Like, I feel like it has its own appeal for sure.
Yeah, I think there'll always be a place for like those smaller, I guess more like community feeling gigs. Like there's something really nice, I think, about going to see local music and running into the same people all the time and being able to hear something new.
Oh, that's a good question. I think just let it be.
Share it with the world.
Yeah.
We're having fun. Why can't everyone else? Music is there to be shared.
Yeah.
You know, music is an expression. It's about having fun. You know, we're going to get up there tonight. We're going to have fun. Yeah. We're a bunch of dudes. We're mates first. We're a band. We just want to share what we do.
It's family first. Family first. Brothers in arms.
Right
there.
Come on. You know you're part of it. Drummer boy.
Come on, drummer boy.
Come on.
The underground reaches, the better, because it'll mean that you're getting through to people, these people who are desensitized and who are fucking numb. So the more popular the underground becomes, the better it is for the fucking human race as far as I'm concerned.
I don't think the underground has the option to say underground, I don't know, like it used to be. But I think that there will always be an alternate / underground / grey area of society where people like us live. And so there'll always be that punk rock, metal, queer alternate, whatever. There's always going to be that. It's necessary. And I think that I don't know, like the revolution or the evolution of technology is just going to connect more people around the world with the same thing. So in a way, yes, but in a way, no. There'll be more connection, but more disconnection.
Whether the underground should stay underground, I don't know. I think for things to progress, maybe it shouldn't, but I think there should always be some sort of element of a music culture that's not the norm.
My honest answer is the underground can do whatever the fuck it wants, because that's what the underground does.
Yes, I do. I was thinking about that question when you were asking other people that question, and I think I've come up with a good answer for it. So have you ever been out to gold mining country? Old fucking Mogo in Victoria or whatever? You ever been fucking panning for gold? You use that fucking sieve to pan for the gold, right? And all the dirt falls through the cracks and it's only the gold that stays in the sieve, right? Yeah, so that's what the underground is. Like, what is so cool about the underground is that the fucking gold rises to the top so easily.
I'm not opposed to it becoming bigger, more people out there experiencing the wild side's good.
I think the people in the underground are underground until they go pop, but there's always going to be an underground just out of the nature of people not liking stuff which isn't appealing to the general status quo.
It has to. It can't go anywhere else because this stuff here is never going to be popular. And if it is popular, it'll be like transit, you know? It'd be nice that, you know, the scene was a little bit more, how can I explain, financially viable, but it's not. You know, like we used to play shows in the 80s and get $60. We play shows now and we get $60. And we don't get fucking free drinks anymore. What the fuck is that?
Yes, they should. Mainstream is effing boring. My God, who wants to live in the mainstream? You kind of give up, don't you? You're bored. Not interesting. Not interesting. That means it's become commercial, and your life is commercial, and that's become a capitalist society.
I think to have that underground stuff out, it's too good not for everyone else to hear it.
I think it should, but only because it encourages it to be better at what it is. Like, I definitely
personally don't buy into the concept of selling out or like, oh, you shouldn't do this gig. All of that shit's fucking dumb. Do what you want, play the gigs you want. As long as you're not being an asshole or fucking anyone over, obviously.
Yeah, it's kind of an oxymoron, the paradox. It's a classic one, whereas as this underground music becomes more popular, it becomes not underground. So it's like, because you want to hear your good bands doing well, but you also like, once they get big and famous, you're like, well, fuck those dudes, man. Sold out, fucking man.
We're not fucking Taylor Swift. It's never gonna, take off to that level. And I kind of like the fact that it's going to stay fairly quiet. It's going to stay in like our crowd. And that's what the underground is. It's family. It's not the same if you take that away.
It would be nice to be able to quit my job, though.
It would be fucking good.
See, now that's a tough question because it also depends on the band. I suppose I could reword the question like, should bands be allowed to blow up? And in reality, I sort of sit there and had you asked me this when I was about 18, I would have been like, no, fucking don't sell out. But at fucking 39 years of age, man's got to live. Man's got bills to pay. So if you can make some money out of your passion and live comfortably, then fuck yeah, blow up.
Well, it's hard to say that. That's a really good question, my friend, because for it to stay underground would mean that it'd have to stay exactly the same way it is. But for it to evolve, well, it's going to have to change, isn't it? You get more punters to the show, I think you are going to change the scene. I think the underground side of it lies within the bands and the performers and the promoters. If they stay true to the underground and don't sell out or look for the quick money grab when shit's going good, I think the underground could stay underground.
It is what it is. There's no option but to be that way. We all support it ourselves. We all support each other. No one's going to suddenly start writing blank checks for fucking crust punk bands. It's not going to happen.
No, I don't reckon underground should stay underground. I reckon bands should get exposure.
Absolutely. I want every underground band to make it, but they're only going to make it if they're good enough and they have the opportunity to make it. That's the sad, hard truth of the music industry.
Keep it underground, keep it root level, fucking street level music, but never push to it. But just that next stage would be nice for everyone, I think.
No.
I don't think so. I think as many people should enjoy the fruits of the underground, the gnarly mushrooms of the underground as they can. And honestly, it's only as small as people are willing to make it with their narrow minds. So if they want to join in, fantastic.
It's not so much that like should the underground stay underground, whether it's like that's not really up to the people in the underground communities. I mean, it's underground because mainstream media has deemed it to be underground. It's not profitable in the same way pop music is, which is fine. And I understand that. That's totally fine with me. I'm not going to go on a tirade about how pop music sucks because that's exactly the type of attitudes I don't like and exactly the type of attitudes I've been talking about. What I think should happen is that the underground should be a lot more accessible to people who, like, particularly people of color, the LGBT community, people that don't fit the stereotypical mold of who is a part of the underground. It has potential to grow, but I think people kind of need to wake up a little bit and kind of be okay with being around people that don't look like them and that don't kind of hold the same values as they do.
Long answer, I hope there is always an underground community supporting whoever the next band is, and I hope we're nicer to the bands who actually bring. If you can do this and have fun and do what you love and write the music that you enjoy and buy a house, that's good. But by the same token, I don't think that's the concept of selling out. Once you start writing music for other people and not for yourself, then yes, I do think it should stay underground. Because if you're worried about what other people will think, then, you know, you're not writing music for the right reason.
All the great stuff ends up coming out of the underground. It's just the biggest lesson to take away from it all is just, you know, remember your origins, remember your roots.
I think good on them if that's what they want. If that's what they want to do with their own music, they create it. It's up to them to do what they want. If it's punk to them, it's punk to them. If it's not punk to that person, guess what? It's not punk to you. So that's cool, man. Just make it not punk for you and move.
The underground scene is, I guess, like I said before, much more a intimate kind of scene and very personal. But I feel like there are a lot of bands who deserve to have that big break and get out there on a more international level. Because there are so many talented bands that nobody has heard of and nobody ever will hear of.
No. I don't think getting paid properly for gigs and having bigger crowds is a problem. If that's not being underground, then I don't have a problem with that.
Yeah, it's just like alternative to mainstream, so that's always...
Yeah, as long as someone else doesn't have too big a finger in your pie, it doesn't matter.
Music, it fucking sucks. We're all the drugs and sluts.
Sucks. Fucking get that shit out of here, man. Fucking.
I get in trouble.
In a realistic sense, we would like to achieve the continuation of writing together and playing shows together and hopefully building a bigger fan base so we can kind of continue doing it without, I don't know, it being sometimes a little bit of a financial strain at the same time.
My opinion, we're achieving it now. We've got records out, we travel overseas, we play with bands that were posters on our common wall in my bedroom as a teenager. We've got to support those bands.
Fun, friendship. The next gig. The next song. And then fulfillment and friendship. Yes.
Conquer the world! Kick on! Yeah! Kick on! More kick-ons, yeah, more kick-ons.
All I've ever wanted was to keep doing it. Just keep making music, and ideally doing it in a room where you haven't done it before with people who haven't seen it before.
If anybody listens to something I've created and enjoys it, wants to rock out, fucking raise a beer to it, that moves me deeply. I am just trying to please myself. I'm very selfish.
Just keep writing good songs, keep playing shows, and keep making friends. That's it. Just having a good time.
Yeah. Playing our own shit and having cunts go off on the front. And we just want to make a mark. Yeah. We just want to, so when we do fucking finish this band, we're fucking sick of it. One more album. This time we're going to do a really good one and actually dub the vocals and do things properly. They love it. They go nothing.
We just want to play that home, mate.
To get out to as many people as possible. I write 90% of the lyrics, and when I write a song, it's something like I said earlier. I say something, it's in my head, it goes out on a paper, and it becomes something that I sing and I express, and I want to not be the only one that thinks and feels that way.
That question has always been shifting and evolving, and I'm still trying to figure out exactly what it is that I want from it. I mean, like in terms of, next steps, next year or two, a dream would be playing a show, small, dingy, dark little room, bit of a light show, but there's enough people in the crowd that know my songs that they're singing the songs along with me. Like that would be that next level of, what I'd want to achieve. But I think even that is sort of missing the point in some ways because it's that process as well. So I think I'm trying to focus on the journey as much as the destination in terms of just enjoying every step of the way, just feeling that creative connection, that sort of creative satisfaction or whatever.
Have fun. I don't think I'm trying to achieve anything. It's just something that I love doing.
Ultimately, self-satisfaction.
Just trying to do it for as long as we can because, I love the band and I love the guys and have a great time.
Just make the most of the time we got, ultimately.
Yeah.
To go to places like and play music. You know, we get to travel to places, and the reason we're there is to play music. That's just insane. To be able to do that self-sufficiently, potentially one day do it as a job would be incredible.
Just playing and enjoying each other's company.
Yeah.
We like each other.
We love each other.
Most of the time, and
we love each other.
We love each other. I know. No one else will have us, and we're in love, and
we're good mates.
We have a great time.
I just want music, my music personally, just people, the message of what's going on. They told me it was fucking very fucking, a lot of casual shit going on right now. And I have friends that don't understand what they're doing. And that's the hardest thing. When you, I don't like you to say the word call, when you try and educate someone with what they just said, it's pretty racist. And they'll turn around to you and say, fuck, like make you the fucking villain. More music is now about that. I want that message to get out there. I want people to understand and listen.
Many shows for fun, and that's it, building a community.
And that's what we love to do.
For me, it's a release. So if there's one person there or a couple that go, I really like that song, or you connected with me, like with the music or the lyrics as well, I think that's the only achievement, is connecting with people on that level.
We play, we want to release some nice, like some cool shit that people want to listen to, hopefully. Yeah.
Well, we all work full time, so it's a passion, love project. So you just want to do cool shit and have some stories to tell your kids.
To really showcase the Australian scene. That's my focus. I made a decision a long time ago that there's enough international representation out there, and there are plenty of great labels internationally and in Australia to help push bands, be it international bands into Australia, Australian bands internationally, and vice versa. But my focus is to showcase these bands.
Yeah, basically we want to get our album out, sell as much of it as we can, make another one, get better with the recording process. We do all that ourselves. And tour. We really want to go play in Japan.
Creating music, writing music, playing music, doing that in any way, shape or form, I know I consider that success. Yeah. Great.
On a personal goal, what I want to get out of it is something to leave my children. A legacy, you might say. Something that my kids, when they're older and they're teenagers, and they go, oh, what does your dad do? My son and daughter can be like, well, he fucking released a song every day in 2020. He's been gigging all around the country. Just something to leave them. And, so they can go, fuck yeah, my dad was a fucking underground rock star.
Music is just us being creative together. And what we want to do is share that creativeness with the scene, with the underground. Try and affect as many people as we can with it, and get people to appreciate it.
For me, music is just my therapy. Like if I'm feeling stressed or sad or whatever, I just go home, grab my guitar, and start playing, start writing for the band. So yeah, I'm just in the band and playing metal. It might sound a bit selfish in a way, but I don't care. I do it for my own, for my own enjoyment and for my own reasons. And whatever happens, if anybody else likes it, well, that's a bonus for me. But
happiness, fucking, that's about it. Just the fun of it and the meeting people, the making those connections, just hanging out with people. Like, it gives you the excuse to travel, the excuse to fucking go to ridiculous places and play these festivals and meet all these weird and wonderful people everywhere. And that's the reason for it. My own happiness and the fun of doing shit with a few mates,
On a personal level, particularly with Heck and Jar,
I want to make people laugh. I want to entertain people. I mean, like, there's something I've kind of like a personal motto I've been following. It's, you know, it's a lot harder to make people laugh, genuinely laugh at a metal show, because everyone's kind of put their guard up and they're trying to stick to a facade. And, you know, I think my personal goal with the band is to kind of tell people, hey, you can let go, you can be yourself. You don't have to stick to these rules. You don't have to follow these imaginary guidelines that some dickhead with like a goatee told you had to on the internet.
I second Mr. Siljanovic's statement.
I don't know. I mean, just to enjoy it. Just to enjoy it, you know, just to love it and enjoy it. It's become a therapeutic thing for me, especially doing the extreme metal stuff, is like getting all that energy out and all that sort of stuff. It's such a great release.
Our legacy, really, like, you know, we'd like to take it to as big as we can go and all the heights we can achieve. But at the end of the day, it's, you know, always a legacy for us, something to pass on to, you know, future generations and children and whatnot. And, you know, I guess that's one of the big beauties of it is, you know, you look at old bands and it's literally like a passage in time. It's a history set in stone that, you know, no one can kind of take away from you. And, you know, you can always show and be like, you know, this is what we achieved when we did this.
Headbutt that I've been playing in since 1996. We played for years and then stopped playing, then got back together. We have stuff that we haven't done yet. Like, we've recently partially recorded stuff that we've been playing for years but never got recorded. That's, I want to get that out there. I want Kundalini's Revenge to record the new songs we've got. I want to just get more stuff out.
We don't really want to be successful, as in like.
Honestly, my dream is that I could be playing every month all over the country for the rest of my life, but I don't care if I make money off it or not, but I'd love to be the hard-ons.
We kind of want to be like Australia's Mudhoney.
Yeah.
You know, like, not famous, but can get by just like playing shows and stuff.
Yeah, if we could be the Cosmic Psychos, that's us living up our dream.
Yeah, that would be dope.
We're going to have a comeback in our late 50s. It's going to be sick.
What I hope to achieve with music is to allow other people to experience what I've experienced with music and what music has offered to me. And like Nicola said before, especially the women in music and the underground people in music, people experimenting in music, what music has offered me, a place to be vulnerable, a place to experiment, a place to fucking play, have fun. What I hope to achieve now is to just offer and foster that for others, truly.
I honestly don't know. I like writing songs. That's all I can say. If I can achieve something, it's just get all the songs I've written down on tape, I think. Whether something becomes of them or not, as long as I've got them recorded, I'll be happy.
They try to get to bigger places, big stages, big festivals, making bigger, better albums.
We want to play Wacken, that's one goal.
That's one goal.
Hopefully we'll get there one day, but you know, that's a big tall order. But we'll always push, we'll always try and make ourselves bigger and better.
And hopefully, touch wood, we all stay committed to this thing that we always love and just keep pushing through the ups and downs.
A-grade quality productions that actually, as an independent sort of thing, independent artist, like get those good productions and have that, you know, I want them to be good enough for a label to have interest in them, and I want to know that feeling of accomplishment and see that product when I'm seeing in my head. I try to do that so much, like trying to visually do what I'm seeing in my brain, and that's it takes a long time, but
I want to buy a house. We heard, I'll say our boys on the drive over that, I don't know if it was Violent Soho or DC Death. Someone was telling me the other day they bought a house, Skeggs bought a house I'll say if we can get to a point where we can get maybe like 10 grand a gig and do 100 shows, buy a house, and then like be still with lasers. Yeah. I feel like it goes back to one of your earlier questions. Like going to a gig is like one of the last experiences I reckon that's around where you can go like similar to maybe if you're like really taken over by an artwork or something. But you know, it's not like scrolling on your phone. It's not like, you know, having a momentary sort of flash or something. You can go to something and feel like, you know, sort of overwhelmed with like emotion, or like it's like a real in the moment experience. And I feel like creating that and being part of that is like the best thing for me about it. But yeah, if we can keep being on the road and keep making music and keep meeting those people, that's the house. Having fun with my friends. Yeah, the house, you know, I mean, we'll get old eventually, so if there's a house we can all sort of have a bump in, that'd be good.
Do you personally play it overseas?
Free alcohol.
I think we've achieved that tenfold already, so that's, yeah.
I just want to play music that's really enjoyable and be able to travel around.
Yep, totally.
Meet people.
Yep.
Have a good time.
Overseas.
Proud of what you do. Don't
and support what you do.
We're gonna go. Let's go.